the old one. Yeah. Right. So I got in, I looked for something wrong. What are you doing? Right, gents. Alright, stand by. Oh, yeah. Hi, Governor. Alright. No, you got it alright. Where's the week? Hello, where's the mate? Nice to see you. Lovely. Alright, Paul. To talk to you about the new cab section and answer any questions that you might have. So a big round of applause. Well, thanks lads and lasses. It's really coming down here. Some of you might have said, well, you know, why is the RMT getting involved in taxi drivers? Well, we ain't like an insurance company that goes around tagging for work. Now, we don't go down to the corner shop or the factory down the road or and say why you should be the RMT. We're a specialist union. We've got over 120 years of history. And the reason that we're a bit different is there's two kinds of unions in this country. There's, well, there's more than two kinds of unions in this country. But you've got the Asda unions or the Tesco unions who look after everyone, which is fine. That's everyone needs a union. And you've got the baker's shop or the butcher's shop, which we believe that we are. If you walk into Asda or Tesco's, the girl on the who's stuck in the shelves, she's probably won't see her again next time you go in there. But you go down a local butcher shop, the same people have been in there decades upon decades. And that's the kind of organisation that we are. The organisation we are is that we like to basically believe that we're a specialist transport union. That's looking after the underground, mainline railways and cab drivers. We've got cab drivers, by the way, in this union for over 60 years. Cab drivers in Swansea, cab drivers in Leicester, cab drivers in Glasgow. We're talking about registered black taxi drivers like yourself. We haven't got minicabs. There's no disrespect to minicabs whatsoever. But we do believe that the knowledge that you do and the skills that you get deserve recognition. In the sense of the word that what's basically happening, as I can see it, is they're just diluting your job, and the way it's going to be, it's just going to become a minicab or a sat-nav in there for people in the future, the way it's going. And on top of that as well, we believe that taxi drivers haven't been organised properly. There's no point just being an organisation. Anyone can join an organisation, but it's about organising you properly. It's about making sure that with the organisation that you become when you're in the RMT, is that you don't go out and do what we tell you, is that we go out and do what you tell us. That's the difference in our organisation. The only way you're going to get recognition in life is density of membership. Like anywhere, the reality is that those trains there only recognise us, unfortunately, when we stop London. And the issue is that the bosses will walk all over us. And the difference is for yourselves, some of you guys say we're self-employed, so we ain't actually got a boss on the opposite side of the table like we would have, for example, Great Western Railways or First Capital or London Underground. But for example, we deal with a lot of self-employed people now. For example, we just merged with a union in the oil industry, OILC. We represent all the divers that build the wind turbines, the people that build the wind turbines when they're fitting into the sea. Our diving members go down beneath the sea and fit them. They also fit the rigs to do the welding on the oil rigs. And our members on the oil rigs now do the catering on the rigs and do the construction of the rigs. Because we've been involved in that union industry for years, because we merged with the Seafarers Union in 1990. So everything that moves in the sea, we believe we should organise. And everything we believe moves in London, that we should organise. And if you organise it properly, that you've got underground workers, mainline railway workers, buses and taxi drivers, then all of us can get a good cut out of it. And what we're here for at the end of the day is building a transport system in London where underground mainline railway buses and taxis don't compete against each other, but complement against each other. But the same token goes that it's absolutely a nonsense. That if underground workers are taking action to get better pay on one day of the month, and bus workers are taking action on another day of the month, and taxi drivers are saying that we've got our grievances to be sorted out on another day of the month, then the best way you can do it is to bring everyone together and take action at the same time, and everyone gets a lift up. And the only way you can do that is being an organisation. That's what it boils down to. You can go in there, you can shout as much as you want, and if the other side believe that you can't do nothing about it, they're going to carry on basically kicking you from pillar to post. And there's two options in life basically. Either you accept what the other side does to you, or you stand up and fight. And we believe at the end of the day, if you stand up and fight, you don't always win. But one thing's for sure, if you don't stand up and fight, you're never going to get anything in life. We've got 230 branches in Britain that run the union, and those people are rank and file people, not full-time officials. But every single office in our union, there's no disrespect, and the person that takes the minutes of the meeting, who hangs the coats up on the pegs, who does my job, is elected. Every single one of them. And if you don't believe they're doing their job properly, then you scrub them and you get another lot to do. And that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Because what I would say about us is that we don't get everything we want, because we get everything we want. We'll be millionaires sitting out on a sandals holiday resort somewhere. But the issue is this, one thing's for sure, we get 101% support that we're always trying to get what you want for at the end of the day. You can't achieve everything in life. Well work built in 7 days, well built in 7.5, I don't know, it was built in 7 days. And the reality is this, is that we've got to organise this properly. So you've got your branch here, and your branch secretary, your branch chairman, your branch committee are all rank and file people like yourselves. And you've got to decide exactly what you want to do. Do you want to carry on driving around that taxi on your own, keep on moaning about this, that or the other, or you get involved in an organisation and have one voice. And you've got to have one voice at the end of the day for any industry you're in. And I'll say to your brothers and sisters to come and join us. And I'll say come and join us because I say we're not like an insurance company. We're not a skip organisation. In fact, we're loaded with money. So we ain't going around the place looking for money to run an organisation. We're not a business union. Our union is about trying to do what it should be doing. That's number one, protecting yourselves. Right away down, can I say, and some of the practices I hear about, for example, when some of you have unfortunately not well and you've got to go for a medical, the cost they're charging for these medicals. You know, the same people you're going to, we use a firm of solicitors called Thompson's. You can check up on the website. They're the biggest industrial solicitors in Britain. They don't work for the employers, they only work for trade unions. But they use the same people in Harley Street that the employers send yourselves to, or when you go for a medical. But they charge you about 200 quid more than what we can get the medical for you. We get the same medical with the same doctor, and you can have 200 quid in your pocket for that. There's accountants out there that we can get for you. But more importantly, we give an accident benefit, we give a death benefit out, we give all that out. That doesn't mean tuppence to you at the end of the day. It's about what your life's like when you get in that cab, when you drive around London, with all the rules and regulations, when you get pulled over, when you get nicked, who's standing on your side. And what we're about at the end of the day is to make the system a bit more fairer for yous than the way you're being treated at the moment. And you're in front of a magistrate, and that beat's saying this, that, and the other. You might say, hands up, I've got to do it because I can't really afford to take it any further, one thing or another. The difference is when you join an organisation like us, is that they ain't taking on Joe Public in the street, they're taking the entire organisation on. When they attack one of our members, they take on the entire 80,000 membership of our union. So therefore, brothers and sisters, I will say to you, join our union. Don't just join it, pay your contributions and say, that's it. The only way the organisation runs is use people play an active role in it. We've got one branch now. What I like to see, not just one branch, it's a branch in North London, West London, East London, South London, and loads of branches. Have a Heathrow branch, have a Royal Oak branch, have a branch now in Southwark Road. Have branches all over the place, and then start frightening the lives out of these people, that when hundreds of thousands of taxi drivers start joining, unless you start listening to us properly, then we'll organise ourselves in such a way that they'll have to listen to us. That's the issue at the end of the day. And you've got tremendous muscle. You know, the reality is that 31 years I've been in this union, and I had the opportunity to speak to unions that organise taxi drivers in New York, in Istanbul, in Melbourne, and they organise themselves in such a way that the employers are literally petrified if they don't turn up for an hour a day, or if they organise they stay away at a certain point in time, or they come to work and don't pick no one up. There's an amazing amount of strength that you've got. And really the strength at the end of the day is always the threat that you might do something. That's what it boils down to. Not that you're always going to do it, but the threat that you might do it. And all we're asking for at the end of the day, not utopia, we're asking for just a bit of social justice out there. That we're treated fairly, and for the years that you do doing this job, then you get some recognition for it. There's no disrespect. Someone just coming along, jumping in a car, sticking a mobile phone with a sat-nav on it, saying they want to go from A to B, is not what we call a prime taxi driver trade, what you